Right, Dino Commies, let's go. Well, this is, I have to debunk this to debunk something else, so let's do this.
Analogy.
Wait, I'm saying a voluntary system. If it's
My boy
voluntary,
Vosh.
where's the coercion? Like,
My boy
are you implying some other definition of coercion
let me
here?
ask you a
Did I
very,
miss something?
let me ask you a basic question, okay? Let's say that you are on a plane, and that plane crash lands on an island, okay? There are only a few survivors. In fact, there are only two. And you wake up after the first one does. By the time that you have woken up, the other survivor in this plane has claimed all of the coconuts on all of the coconut trees, stacked them on their pile, sheltered that pile with all the wreckage from the plane, and declared they own it. And they say that they would be willing to give you said coconuts if you throat their cock. Now, would you consider that to be a voluntary interaction? Is that a voluntary interaction? I've talked about the Coconut Island analogy before. It's a textbook example of something called an ignoratio elenchi fallacy, also known as missing the point. It is when an argument proves a different point than what it was intended to make, often due to having incorrect assumptions baked into the argument. Vosh is trying to prove the point that the free market is exploitative and coercive by equating it to...
He's trying to say that there can be coercion without value. You can add other things to coconut analogy. The coconut analogy is an analogy, obviously. Like, you can add eventually stuff to it. You can add other parts to the coconut analogy to make it more realistic. Point to a better analogy. Eventually, you just get up to a society where you have what we have now, which is there's intricate web of stuff you can do, but you have to take part in society to live in it, to die, or you die. And Vosh's point is that is coercive.
Guy who owns all the coconuts and demanding inappropriate favors for them. Thing is, free markets generally have multiple goods and services with multiple people exchanging said goods. A person who makes unreasonable demands will generally price themselves out of the market. The only time a problem similar to the Coconut Island analogy would come...
This can simply happen with multiple people. Imagine 3 people were on a plane and 3 people crashed land on a desert island. 2 of them created an oligarchy, which is the system we have. Yeah, notice Memphis does not understand. Memphis does not understand that oligarchies are the common thing. That a few companies are the only people who sell stuff. Which you can see oligarchies around. You just, let me think. You can't create a competitor to Amazon.
Come up is when there is only one person in control of an...
No, again, 3 people crashed land on a desert island. 2 of them created an oligarchy of food, and they say you can have coconut if you suck one of the cock. This happens.
Essential good, i.e. a monopoly. So in other words, Vosh's Coconut Island actually just proves the point that monopolies are coercive, not so much his intended point that capitalism is coercive. And the unproven assertion being made by Vosh here is that the free markets are more likely to result in monopolies than socialism.
It does create monopolies also. Yeah, look, do the Gilded Age, look through history. The only reason we see oligarchies instead of monopolies is because of anti-monopoly laws that Memphis probably wants to repeal. Adam Smith said that there must be rules against monopoly. Adam Smith said that. God, libertarians know nothing.
This is demonstrably untrue. The vast majority of times...
What? The Gilded Age? Source? And he has no source in the description. Source? What? My sources are made of the fuck up.
That collectivizing ownership of the means of production has been attempted. It ended in government control of the means of production, which is pretty much the worst possible monopoly you can have, as the government owning all the coconuts gives citizens zero recourse, resulting in...
What if the government is democratically ownership of means of production? Also, why? Never mind, just forget what I said.
People having to literally worship their dear leaders' statues in hopes that they'll toss a coconut their way. Of course.
Oh god, the socialism have failed arguments. God, libertarianism. Yeah. Broken records.
What many socialists, Vosh included, will do here next is cry foul over comparing things to Marxist-Leninist states. The issue with that is they are no longer comparing capitalism to socialism, but to a utopian ideal of socialism.
No, what's utopian about democratic ownership of means of production? Now, the Marxist-Leninist states are socialist. If you want to count the Marxist-Leninist state as socialist, you have to include North Korea as a democracy. Which, to be fair, libertarians hate democracy as well.
That, of course, has never been tried. This is
Democracy has never been tried until it has been tried. Socialism will never be tried until it has been tried. If you lived before the American Revolution, the only system that went close to socialism was democracy was Cromwell's dictatorship. Therefore, is democracy forward. If you teleport before the American Revolution, the only thing that went close to democracy was the Cromwell's dictatorship. Exactly. Also capitalism does cause monopolies.
Never an honest argument. Anyone can just as easily come up with a utopian version of capitalism as a counter comparison. It's just not.
Libertarians always do this. Like libertarians do this all the time. They if they say crony capitalism or anything like that, they're saying that the problem with capitalism is that the state has to do it. If we just do capitalism harder, then this problem happens. Like you already do that. That's already your main argument, mate. It isn't some hypothetical argument you can do. That's already your main argument.
A good analogy. The reality is every economic and political system humans have come up with has had to deal with the threat of monopolized power. And the funny thing is that if you
anti-monopoly laws, mate,
want to get super literal on this, the Coconut Island analogy actually specifically showcases how the problem can arise from an anarcho-primitive society. Oh, and bonus refutation, Squid Game. Great series, but not so great of a critique of capitalism for the same logical problem. Excellent showcase of the issues with too much power in the hands of a few, not so great of a showcase of issues unique to the free market.
I have no idea what he's saying.
Number 2, false accusations of fascism and bigotry.
Yeah, like this man talking about how we should repeal the that stops bigotry. Yeah, ANCAPs can't do this. Anyway, one question to the ANCAPs with free speech. Most of the time, ANCAPs are free speech absolutists. They love their free speech. What they mean by free speech absolutists is that private corporations must have no TOS, so therefore the government was forced private corporations to have no TOS. So technically, libertarians already believe in negative freedom, in like that the coconut analogy, because you can just talk about free speech. So yeah.